trying to sell us on bridges. Thank you.
Yeah.
Business?
Okay, I'm calling the December 12th, 2023 meeting to order. We'll start with the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. A moment of silence to remember the service and sacrifices of the armed service members who protect our nation and the first responders who protect our neighborhoods. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Friedlander.
Here.
Councilwoman Noon.
Here.
Councilman Brooks.
Here.
Councilman Sackett.
Here.
Councilwoman Brooks.
Here.
Councilman Sahlberg.
Here.
Councilman Wojtovich.
Here.
Vice President Quinn is absent. President Kretz.
Here. Notice of this meeting was sent to the Daily Record and the Star Ledger, the official newspapers for the Township of Rockaway, in compliance with Public Law 1975, Chapter 231. Additionally, notice was posted on the Township website, the official bulletin boards of Rockaway, and filed in the office of the Township Clerk. Agenda item 6, approval of the minutes. November 14th Township Council regular meeting minutes. Can I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Second.
Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Friedlander.
Yes.
Councilwoman Noon.
Yes.
Councilman Brooks.
Yes.
Councilman Sackett.
Yes.
Councilwoman Brooks.
Yes.
Councilman Sahlberg.
Yes.
Councilman Wojtovich.
Yes.
President Kretz.
Yes. That's 8 yeses. Motion passes. We are going to move on to the open to the public portion. Just to remind everybody for this piece, there is a time limit of 3 minutes. I will have a timer going up here. When you come up to the microphone, please state your name and address for the record. And any statements are made to the council in general. We're going to start with, and apologies if I don't do these names correctly, Dr. Asaf?
Good evening. My name is Arif Asaf, A-R-E-F, A-S-S-A-F. I'm a taxpayer.
I'm sorry, just address for the record?
Yes, my address is 138 White Meadow Road, Rockaway.
Thank you.
So I'm a taxpayer who's very concerned about how his taxes are spent. But also I'm very concerned about a position that you may be taking tonight concerning the general topic of anti-Semitism. I stand today in opposition to this resolution, and I hope you will give me the remaining 2 minutes to explain to you why I believe so. While we are all against those who are anti-Jews and under the premise of anti-Semitism, espouse feelings or practices to harm the Jews simply because of being Jewish. The problem with this resolution is that it conflates any criticism of the state of Israel and its political leadership with that of anti-Semitism. This is unacceptable, and this could not possibly be emulated even here in the United States. Suppose we said there is a term called anti-Americanism, then you say suddenly that if you criticize the President of the United States, you become anti-American. Just imagine how simply that false narrative is when you say that criticizing the state of Israel for its practices, either domestic against its own Arab population who are treated as second-class citizens, or against the occupied Palestinian people who are being massacred, as we hear every day. Almost 8,000 children have been killed as of yesterday's account. So I'm urging the council to seek prudent waiting period to table this resolution where it can be more inclusive to include any acts of discrimination and hatred, not only against our Jewish brothers and sisters, but also against other minorities. And my community, the Muslim community, has been at the forefront of receiving these hate attacks, and actually murders. You just hear about the child, 12 years old, who was murdered in Chicago, the 3 Palestinian students who were shot, one of them paralyzed for life in Vermont, and thousands of claims and phone calls received by Islamic organizations complaining about acts of hatred and bigotry simply because they look Arab or they dress like a Muslim. So this resolution, while it may be meaningfully employed, only if you were to table it and reconsider to be more inclusive so that the definition of bigotry and discrimination does not only apply and become an issue for this council when acts of hatred against Jews is an issue, but also because of the permanent anti-Muslim activities and actions and policies that are permeating our society. So I urge you to table this resolution, seek advice from our community. We're more than willing to help and sit down with you so that it will be redrafted in a way that will be more responsive not only to the one ethnic community, but the entirety of the township of Rockaway, which includes many Muslims and Arabs and other ethnic minorities. That will be your duty, the moral duty, and the humane duty that you should espouse. Thank you very much.
Jamal Assad. Again, apologies if I'm mispronouncing these.
Hello, my name is Jamal Asaf. I live at 10 Circle Drive, Rockaway, New Jersey. I'm here just to really talk about the anti-Semitism resolution that you have today. I just want to read something for you from President Biden in the White House, so you understand that anti-Semitism alone resolution is not fair and it's very biased. On November 14th, fact sheet, Biden-Harris administration takes action to address alarming rise of reported anti-Semitic and Islamophobic events at schools and college campuses. This is the statement by President Biden. I hope you take this into consideration, and I'm ready to give you this paper. This is from the White House. We cannot stand by and stand silent in the wake of anti-Semitic and Islamophobic incidents. We must, without equivocation, denounce anti-Semitism. We must also, without equivocation, denounce Islamophobia. President Biden. So, we cannot stand here and say, okay, just anti-Semitism. There are Muslims who live in this town. If I raise the Palestinian flag tomorrow at my house, should I be afraid? That's exactly what's going to, I really like, I wanted to support my people in Palestine. I see an Israeli flag. Do I go there and say, oh, take it down? No, I respect their opinion, whatever they wanted to do. But we are, as Muslims here, we feel also threatened. My family, my wife wears a hijab. You know, last week, we were given the finger. That's what happens. So it's not just Jews who suffer. Muslims also suffer. Palestinians suffer. Regardless, even people of other nationalities sometimes suffer because they wear the turban. There could be Hindus, Sikh, and we should be concerned about that too. So this resolution here is very biased, and I see a lot of actually terminologies and examples here that are not written by people from this town. I could tell. If I could ask you now, what is, when they say, Harakat al-Muqawama al-Islamiyya, do you think who wrote this? People from outside this town. They're not from here. And this resolution has been passed, I know, by other towns all over New Jersey, right? And does that mean they're right? No. Maybe there were no people there actually to confront this resolution and to allow it to be passed by various councils. We should be concerned about that, because if you pass it, I'm afraid that what's next? Palestinian flag is going to be denounced as terrorism or something like that. I faced this when I was going to school 40 years ago at County College of Morris, when a history professor said, no Palestine student. So what does that mean? How should I feel? He basically said, you don't exist. I mean, it's very emotional to me to talk about this. I had I suffered at the hand of the Israeli soldiers. I was beaten up by 5 Israeli soldiers, not just one. And it's very concerning to go around and just say, oh, anti-Semitism, everything's anti-Semite. You criticize Israel, you're anti-Semite. Listen, I had Jewish friends, colleagues in computer field. At school, I had professors. We had meetings. I know there are Jews who go to Palestinian protests. Do they get really, are they afraid to be amongst Arabs and Muslims? No, you could go ask them. I am sorry. So basically this is it, and I hope that you take into consideration to not vote on this resolution and not to pass it. Thank you very much.
Mahmoud Abdel, sorry, I can't read it. I can't read it.
Abdelghani.
Abdelghani.
Mahmoud sounds like, how's your mood? Mahmoud is good. Good evening, my name is Mahmoud Abdelghani. I've been a resident of Rockaway Township for over 21 years. I live at 40 Fleetwood Drive in Rockaway, New Jersey. I respectfully ask if you can grant me an extra minute or two, but I'm going to talk really fast. All people should be protected from racism and hatred. Providing special protections for a foreign government like Israel and its actions under the guise of protecting Jews from hate speech is political, unwise at best, and probably counterproductive to combating anti-Semitism. Conflating the policies and the actions of Saudi Arabia with Islamophobia, if you did that, I'd be furious and I'd be insulted, even if they claim that the guardians of Islam's holiest sites. Nobody criticized them more than I did, and I'm not an Islamophobe, I promise you. A just resolution would be basically all hate and speech is bad, unwelcome. Our community, even if protected under free speech. A just resolution would define Islamophobia as something that's not limited to dehumanizing and creating stereotypical allegations against Muslims, physical anti-Muslim expressions, defaming or encouraging harm against Muslims, as well as accusations of Muslims in regard to their loyalty to other communities and countries. Notice I didn't mention any nations. CARE, Council of American Islamic Relations, received a total of 2,171 requests for help and reports and bias. It's a 172% increase in similar 2 months period last year. Are you willing to include Islamophobia in the bill with a definition? Do you represent all residents of Rockaway Township? Not one, no one has a problem with condemning Holocaust denial or any other hate speech. It's a tremendous insult to Holocaust victims, survivors, and their offspring to conflate the horrific crime of trying to eliminate all Jews and other minorities with the actions of a state that, according to 2/3 of its residents, is a secular state. A state that's in violation of 28 Security Council resolutions that are legally binding under member nations. A state that's earned the condemnation resolutions that are more than all other states combined. Last week, Pope Francis, according to the Washington Post, called Israel's actions in Gaza terrorism, not war. Do we condemn the Pope? If this resolution is passed, will we stigmatize former President Carter, as well as tens of thousands of prominent Jews like Norman Finkelstein, Noam Chomsky, Amy Goodman, that are critical of Israel? Will we consider them anti-Semitic? That's insane and political. The resolution enforces a cornerstone of real anti-Semitism, which is a generalization that all Jews think alike as one block. They don't. Labeling some of the most prominent vocal critics of Israel's actions, of which some of them are actually Holocaust victims or their offspring, and they're calling these people calling for Palestinian rights, calling them anti-Semitic is cruel and wrong. Holding Jews collectively responsible for the actions of Israel is unacceptable is correct. I do not hold all Jewish people responsible for the actions of Israel. But why is this resolution equating criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism? Claiming that Israel's existence is a racist endeavor is also problematic, as the vast majority of NGOs, governments, world leaders, United Nations have pointed out glaring instances of apartheid being practiced in Israel. Are they anti-Semitic? My 14-year-old son in Rockaway schools was called a terrorist and a bomber practically daily. It hurt. Where were the special protections when former President Trump spewed some really ugly Islamophobic statements that were echoed in some media outlets? Why didn't this body issue any resolutions to protect my family? I'm not urging you to be silent in the face of hatred. I'm only urging you to be inclusive and fair. If I provide special treatment for one of my 3 children, I have all but ensured the mistreatment of that child by the other 2. This is exactly what's happening here today. We should all be equal under the laws of the township, the county, the state, the nation, and under God. We just pledged allegiance to our great flag. Liberty and justice for all. Selective justice is actually injustice. Please reconsider it and reword it. Thank you.
Thank you. Bilal Marie? Did I get that one right? Thank you.
Good evening, Bilal Marie, 6 Osage Road. First, I want to thank the council for bringing up the issue of anti-Semitism to the attention of Rockaway Township residents through this resolution. I, however, would like to remind the council that Rockaway Township is made up of different communities from different backgrounds, faiths, and ethnicities. The current resolution addresses acts or potential acts of bias and hate against one group only. I believe that any act of bias or hate towards any resident in Rockaway Township to be extremely unacceptable. I hereby call on the council to broaden the current resolution to include all acts of bias and hate towards all the residents of Rockaway Township. I call on the council to include but not limit to Islamophobia in addition to anti-Semitism. Islamophobia can be defined but not limited to dehumanizing and creating stereotypical allegations against Muslims, physical anti-Muslim expressions, defaming and encouraging harm against Muslims, as well as accusations of Muslims in regard to their loyalty to other communities or countries. In New Jersey alone, the number of hate crimes against Muslims in the past 2 months is far greater than in all 2022. I also call on the council to include in the resolution the right and the freedom of people to speak, celebrate, and showcase their beliefs, culture, and heritage. I also call on the council to include in the resolution the right and the freedom of people to speak of the tragedies that had befallen their families in their own narratives. Reading over the resolution, I could not think but of this drawing that my daughter in the 7th grade did just 3 days ago. If you can see this drawing, it has the white, black, green, and red flag. And when I asked her, why did you do this? She said, this is to represent Palestine. I don't want a situation where this is not accepted in the school. During my graduate studies, I was told by my thesis advisors repeatedly that Palestine does not exist. I do not want my daughter to go through the same thing. In the end, I believe that an inclusive approach towards preventing acts of bias and hate towards all residents of Rockaway Township is the only logical path forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, there's a couple names here I can't read that have noted this is what they'd like to speak about. So there's 2 others out there who signed the sheet. Show of hands. Anybody else wish? Please step up to the mic. Just state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Amr Rafa, 100 Seward Street, B9. I came here not prepared, so forgive my. I'm just gonna speak my mind about this.
That's what we're here for.
My understanding about this resolution is that you are addressing the new generation, our children, our future. Okay? So if you are going to do that, please don't take from them their freedom of speech. I lived a big part of my life in Egypt. And for the most of my life, I couldn't express myself. I couldn't say what is going in my mind. Because in Egypt, there is a dictatorship. So please, don't drive this country to be another dictatorship. If you are going to ban my mind, my freedom of speech, my children's freedom of speech, you are going to take their country from their hands. Please, please take this in consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that wants to speak on this resolution?
Emily Coleman, 18 Lakeshore Drive. Just wanted to congratulate all the winners. And I just wanted to say that the one thing that I've noticed recently as I was driving around looking at your guys' political signs was Rockaway First. And I don't really understand why it wouldn't be like Rockaway Together. Rockaway First is also taken from a certain time in history when a certain country wanted to be first. So I would say that anybody that wants to have a resolution about their particular issue could present it to this council. So for me, being a child of Holocaust survivors and people that didn't survive, and being a child of my grandparents ran from pogroms. So it's not saying that other people don't exist, it's saying that we all exist, and let's realize that there's problems, and let's take care of each other. Let's take care of each other. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak on this resolution? Okay. Again, normally I don't address during the open to the public, and Ms. Degnan, I know we're coming to you. You're still going to get your time. I know. This is not a condemnation of any other people, all right? This is not a resolution in support of the state of Israel. This is a resolution against anti-Semitism, right, in this town. It does not grant us any special rights, all right? There are no actions that are being taken as a result of this resolution other than an attempt to bring awareness. We are not taking anybody's freedom of speech, all right? Somebody mentioned that. This is not about freedom of speech. Again, this is about bringing to the surface and opening up a discussion and a dialogue with people around you and hopefully your children. It doesn't ban anything, okay? It does not state, we are not dabbling in the politics of the Middle East with this, okay? This is for, and Mr. Sackett was the one who introduced this resolution, and I wholeheartedly supported him, okay? There's nothing in this resolution that recognizes the actions of Israel in Gaza. There is nothing in here that is anti-Palestinian, all right? What this is written for is, last year, I have 4 children in the school system. My younger daughter was called a dirty Jew, and the boy that was harassing her said he was Hitler and he was going to kill her. Okay? This is a 6th grader. 6th grader doesn't learn this on their own. Okay? This is to open a dialogue for things like that. Okay? There's 4 Jews here. Doesn't mean anything. If there were no Jews here, we would stand in support of going against anti-Semitism. All right? This is not a referendum on Islamophobia. It has nothing to do with Islamophobia. 2 months ago, we hosted a Hindu delegation. I forgot the holiday. What? Diwali. So we hosted a Hindu delegation here who spoke and talked about their culture. All right? We did a resolution, all right, and this is not a referendum on that, but we did a resolution in support of the LGBTQ community. Okay? The town is more than happy to hear your voice. All right? But by supporting a resolution against anti-Semitism does not endorse Islamophobia. You want to hang the Palestinian flag? Go. That doesn't bother me. Does it bother you? No. It doesn't bother me at all. All right? You guys are my brothers. All right? But this resolution, I understand and I hear you. All right? And I understand the challenges that the Islamic community has gone through. Okay? this is not about condemning you. Okay. Ms. Degnan, let's see you follow that.
Pat Degnan, 88 Valley View Drive. We're coming up on the winter season, and we usually have a problem with parking on both sides in White Meadow Lake, and we're not supposed to, but the signs are really, really bad. You can't read half of the ones that say, no parking on this side of the street. And the roads in White Meadow Lake are narrow and winding, and I would hope that the town could put new signs up before we get our first snowstorm. And the other thing I wanted to say, I wanted to thank everybody for the service that you do for the town. You work very hard. You have to please an awful lot of people, and sometimes it's very, very difficult. I wouldn't want to be sitting there, believe me. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else in the public that wishes to speak? Okay, so we are going to move on to the resolution, R23-217, resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Rockaway recognizing the growing problem of anti-Semitism in America and calling for the adoption of educational tools to address it. I am going to, again, normally I don't open it up. What?
You skipped over 8.
The ordinance.
Okay, you know what, that's fine. We can change the, we'll go back to 8. But I want to do this now. Thank you, though, but we'll go back. Like I say, I'm not going to pull this resolution. Mr. Sackett was the one who introduced it, and like I say, I supported him. What I would do, and I'm going to hand it, again, normally we don't have discussion on this, but I am going to ask Mr. Sackett to speak for a few minutes. What I will do is I definitely want to invite any representatives of the Islamic community to stay. Please stay and talk about what we can do. It shouldn't take us having to put out this resolution to get this many people in for a meeting. So consider this the introduction, and let's talk. Okay? So, Mr. Sackett.
Thank you, Council President. I'm going to read the resolution. I'm going to skip over a few parts. It is very long. Whereas it has been reported, documented, those anti-Semitic attacks across New Jersey have been on the rise since 2019. And whereas it's been reported that such attacks across the nation have risen by almost 400% so far in 2023. Whereas the recent American Jewish State of Anti-Semitism report found that more than 1 in 3 American Jews, 37%, have been victims of anti-Semitism over the past 5 years. Whereas anti-Semitism, including harassment on the basis of actual or perceived Jewish origin, ancestry, ethnicity, identity, affiliation, or faith, remains a persistent, pervasive, and disturbing problem in American society. Whereas members of the Jewish community in the U.S. continue to be targeted, minority in the U.S. are consistently the most likely of all religious groups to be victimized by incidents of hate at an increasingly alarming rate. Whereas it's been reported that in response to the targeting of their faithful synagogues across the country have felt compelled to reevaluate their own security measures to keep their congregations safe. Whereas Township of Rockaway officials have a responsibility to protect all citizens from acts of hate and bigotry, including anti-Semitism, and are committed to doing so. Whereas valid monitoring, informed analysis, and investigation and effective policymaking benefit from accurate and uniform definitions. Whereas the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, by consensus vote of its member states adopting a working definition of anti-Semitism in May 2016, has become the internationally recognized authoritative definition of anti-Semitism for use by governments and international organizations. Anti-Semitism is a certain perception of Jews which may be expressed as hatred towards Jews. Rhetorical and physical manifestations of anti-Semitism are directed towards Jewish and non-Jewish individuals and their property, toward Jewish community, institutions, and religious facilities. Whereas anti-Semitic acts are criminal when they are so defined by law, for example, denial of the Holocaust or distribution of anti-Semitic materials in some countries, And whereas the IHRA working definition has proven to be an essential tool used to help determine contemporary manifestations or anti-Semitism. Whereas in the United States, the IHRA working definition is utilized by various government agencies, including the U.S. Department of State and U.S. Department of Education, can be utilized by law enforcement agencies in modern training and education. The non-legally binding International Historical Remembrance Alliance definition of anti-Semitism is hereby adopted in full. This adoption is meant to ensure the IHRA working definition of anti-Semitism is available as an educational resource for the Rockaway Township Board of Education, Police Department, and its other municipalities, all of which have a responsibility to reject anti-Semitism and other forms of discrimination. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Okay, can I have a motion for Resolution AR-23-217?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noon,
Yes.
Councilman Brooks,
Yes.
Councilman Sackett,
Yes.
Councilwoman Brooks,
Yes.
Councilman Salberg,
Yes.
Councilman Vojtovich,
Yes.
President Kretz.
Yes, that's 8 yeses, resolution passes. I'd also like to point out that, so generally, what happens after the meeting is I go and I have to physically sign all the ordinances. I asked our clerk to print this one out. I am going to sign it now, and I'm going to ask the clerk to please post this on the board outside for 30 days.
Of course.
Thank you. And I would implore, again, to end that up, I'm imploring you to stay to the end of the meeting so we can talk. All right, I'm more than happy to explore what we can do. Okay. Going back to agenda item number 8, ordinances for public hearing, final adoption. Ordinance O-23-26, an ordinance of the Township of Rockaway, County of Morris, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 54, Stormwater Control of the Township Code to establish NJDEP mandated regulation for privately owned salt storage. Can I have a motion?
Second. Or I make the motion.
Second.
Settle down.
You second it first.
Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noon,
Yes.
Councilman Brooks,
Yes.
Councilman Sackett,
Yes.
Councilwoman Brooks,
Yes.
Councilman Salberg,
Yes.
Councilman Vojtovich,
Yes.
President Kretz.
Yes, that's 8 yeses. Motion passes. Okay, so for agenda item number 10, the consent agenda, a couple notes on this one. I am removing Resolution R-23-214, letter Q. We are amending R-23-215. There are new versions of the resolution over there on the table, and the council has been provided that. And then I am adding Resolution 23-222, also which is publicly available on the site, and the council has been provided that. So, consent agenda. A, R-23-198, B, R-23-199, C, R-23-200, D, R-23-201, E, R-23-202, F, R-23-203, G, R-23-204, H, R-23-205, I, R-23-206, J, R-23-207, K, R-23-208, L, R-23-209, M, R-23-210, N, R-23-211, O, R-23-212, P, R-23-213, R, R-23-215 as amended, S, R-23-216, T, R-23-219, U, R-23-220, V, R-23-221, and W, R-23-222. Can I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noon,
Yes.
Councilman Brooks,
Yes.
Councilman Sackett,
Yes.
Councilwoman Brooks,
Yes.
Councilman Salberg,
Yes.
Councilman Vojtovich,
Yes.
President Kretz.
Yes, that's 8 yeses, motion passes. I'm going to change one other thing on here. We have at this point, a resolution to go into a executive session. I'm going to move that after old business, new business, and discussions. Just for everybody here, we will enter into a closed session after this. It should be fairly quick. There's no action anticipated after that, correct? All right, just want to let everybody know. Okay, so let's start with reports, and let's start with Councilman Sackett.
No report, thank you.
Councilman Brooks.
I just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas coming up and a Happy Hanukkah that's going on right now. And looking forward to the new year.
Councilwoman Noon.
Ditto. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and Happy and Healthy New Year.
Councilman Matovich.
I have nothing to report.
Councilman Sahlberg.
Just happy holidays and happy new year to all.
Councilwoman Brooks.
Nothing to report.
Councilman Friedlander.
Here we go. I'll be fast. Rockaway Township Substance Abuse Alliance had their last meeting. Just want to let you know that Phase 1, which that's, what the programs with the guest speakers at Copeland, was this past month, and the kids just really were very attentive, and it was seen as a very successful start for their phases, which they do 4. Next thing, Rockaway Township Historical Society had the last program in December, and that was about the small mines that are around town that you can't believe what we have in this town. And just want to say that was the last one because the Fort Fage House is closed right now. They started construction from the grant money of the bathroom, the septic, and the heat and whatever, and hopefully it'll get done by spring and we'll have a grand opening. Third, library is doing well. Their programs, if you have children and you want to look at their programs online, they're very successful and they are continuing into the new year. That's the 3 I'm reporting tonight, and again, wish everybody a happy and a healthy new year coming up, Christmas, Hanukkah, and whatever else is in between. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah. Few things. I believe Councilman Wojtovich mentioned it. We'll be doing a post on Facebook. We will be soliciting or looking for veterans that want to have a flag hunt. We haven't determined location. The flags are going to be funded privately. You'll see a post on our Facebook over the next few days. And if you're interested or know somebody who might be interested, you can respond. All the instructions will be there. But I think it's really something to celebrate the veterans that live in our community. I'd like to point out the shared services agreement ordinance that was just adopted, R-23-199, between us and the Borough of Rockaway. It'll be generating some decent revenue for the township over the term of the contract. So it's something I met and talked about with Mayor Mulligan, and we came to an agreement on. So I think it's a good move for the township. Talk about police. We have Captain Shear tonight. I just want to relay a story. So I was at dinner the other night, and the person sitting next to me says, I get this a lot now, right? Do you know this person that works at town? I'm like, oh, here we go. And she's like, do you know Michael Batista, police officer? I say, sure. I coached him in football. He's one of our newer officers, less than a year of experience. So she went on to convey a story how there was a medical incident with her mother, and he was the first on scene. And just how compassionate he was, and how he just did whatever her mother needed until the ambulance got there. And I think it just reflects our police force and the type of young men and women we have in our police force and the things they do for our community. And I think we should all be proud of that, and we should really build on that. I do have a business recognition. Teriyaki Madness. We had lunch there over the weekend. It was pretty solid. They're located in that strip mall by Dick's. I think it's next to Crumbles. The owner has been a Dunkin' Donuts franchisee's owner for over 20 years in Hudson and Bergen counties. He was drawn to Rockaway Township due to the quality of tenants located on the property. They sell freshly prepared, made-to-order, Asian, fast, casual cuisine, and will be launching a catering platform shortly. You can order lunch, dinner, home, business, multiple different delivery providers. They're looking forward to serving the community and getting involved in any initiatives the township has to offer. So visit our Facebook page to find out more about them. Since the last meeting, we've had a couple of rabies clinics. We had the tree lighting, we had the menorah lighting. There's actually been, I've been trying to advertise a couple of fundraisers in town for local PTAs. We ate at Panera one night for Birchwood. We ate at Pops one night for Dwyer. Done like 3 weddings. There was the blood drive at White Meadow Lake on the 28th. Went and gave blood there. Just trying to see. This breakfast with Santa, Ms. Stegnan, at White Meadow Lake was awesome as always. The pancakes were outstanding. The coffee was very good too. There was a historical committee meeting that we attended where they did a presentation. Eileen did a presentation on the major mines in Rockaway, and it was fascinating to learn about the mine system within our township and the areas it covers. We had the Rockets varsity dinner, which is always phenomenal. We got to celebrate the 8th graders for the Rockets, so it was a really good night. And I think that's all I have. Yep, that's all I have.
Mr. Yachafano?
No report other than happy holidays and happy New Year.
Ms. Cosarelli?
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to bring you updated on a few things going on in town. The Hibernia Playground is going to be installed or currently being installed. It was scheduled approximately for yesterday, however, weather permitting, so that is ongoing. We're currently getting quotes for the refurbishment of Lake Telemark Park for asphalt and fencing around that area, so that'll be an improved section. We're also waiting for conceptual drawings and pricing for stadium seating at Peterson Field. One of the things that's very important for us to do is to plan infrastructure upgrades. It's very important to be proactive. Being reactive costs money. So this group of people here have planned, I should say, specific departments. DPW, engineering, utility has planned, water utility, planned for infrastructure upgrades, and I'm proud to say that 2,000 linear feet of water main will be replaced on Queens Road. That'll be done in January of 2024. I'd also like to tee off what Mayor Jackson said respective of shared services agreements. That is something very important in that, I don't know if, just to bring you up to date, what is shared service means, is that the township is working as the lead agent here for the court system. However, I am looking and seeking other shared services for some of our other services we provide here. The whole purpose of a shared service is for the two entities to split the cost rather than the full cost being borne on all of you, the taxpayers of Rockaway Township. I also just want to take this opportunity. It is the end of the year. I just celebrated my 3-month anniversary with Rockaway Township, so thank you so much. I would like to thank the mayor and council for offering me the opportunity to work for this great town and to work with the staff right here. A lot of people don't know what goes on behind the scenes. These folks are here no matter what, and in my position as the administrator, I look to these folks plus their staff and their division heads to support the operations and manage their divisions, and I couldn't be more thankful to work with a more knowledgeable patient staff and bringing me up to speed and being able to execute all of the services that we have come to enjoy and continue to enjoy here in Rockaway Township. Tonight, they're going to discuss some of their brief accomplishments. They've done so much, which you will see a full iteration in the mayor's newsletter in which he will highlight a look back in 2023 and look forward in what you could see here in Rockaway Township in 2024. I wish everybody always the best of health and happiness, and I'm going to turn this over back to the council president.
Thank you. Ms. Palmieri?
Thank you. A couple weeks ago, we had our annual note sale. The purpose of that note sale was to fund previously approved ordinances that the Township Council has adopted. We prepared an official statement to submit to our prospective bidders. We did receive 4 bids ranging from 3.7 to 3.8. The winning bidder was TD Securities. This was actually very favorable because just prior to Thanksgiving, those rates were between 4.25 and 4.5. So being under 3.75 was very favorable. Some accomplishments. The Finance Department oversees 3 divisions. There's the Division of Treasury, Division of Tax Collection, and the Division of Tax Assessment. The Treasury and Tax and Utility divisions were able to take our existing software for finance and tax and put it on the cloud-based, so that's no longer on our server, which has extremely helped us as far as our exposure to ransomware. Our tax bills were issued estimated again for the third quarter, which allowed our taxpayers to pay timely, not have to wait because the state delays their budget, which ultimately means we are late in collecting that third quarter, so it allows the township to receive payments timely for cash flow purposes. It's a very big plus for us. And lastly, the assessing division, the values were given to the county, and the reassessment program continues to adjust commercial and residential properties on a current market value, which substantially reduces the number of tax appeals that are filed and ultimately saving us all. Thank you.
Ms. Ferrante?
Thank you. One of the biggest accomplishments this year was the completion of the memorial area, the hardscape in the memorial area, which we recently used for the tree lighting in the memorial. So I hope you guys are all enjoying that space. We collaborated with Parks and Rec, DPW. So that was a really successful, and that was actually back in May. This year has flown by. I don't know if it has for anybody else, but we also worked with the borough, met recently with them and Princeton Hydro on a potential pilot project to improve water quality at Parks Lake. If that kicks off, you'll be hearing more about that in 2024. We are still waiting to hear from the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection on 319 grant opportunities for a potential water quality project. Speaking of grants, we're just about finishing the renovations to the basement of the senior center that was funded by a community development block grant, which we partnered with the Division of Health on. So that should be open soon for a new space for events. Hopefully it doesn't smell like a musty basement anymore. We also applied and received another municipal aid grant from New Jersey Department of Transportation and $200,000 for improvements to Reservoir Road. We'll be developing that design. After the utilities complete water infrastructure improvements on Queens Road, we'll get in there and do drainage work. We're also collaborating with New Jersey Natural Gas, so there'll be a lot of construction on Queens Road for the next 6 to 8 months. So just be patient. We'll get in and get out of there, and then we'll go over to Richard Street. That's some improvements from
Mr. Tabbitt?
Thank you, Council President. First of all, happy holidays to everybody in attendance. 2023 was a productive and a fiscally successful year for the Division of Health. This year, the Division of Health completed work on 2 grants totaling a combined $620,000. And we also applied for, received, and are presently managing 2 new grants totaling $797,000. As the council has previously been made aware, I think on September 12th, some of this funding offsets regular annual budget items like portions of several full-time salaries. and items to support municipal administration and infrastructure. And just to dovetail off of the mayor and the business administrator's comments on shared services, the Division of Health also continues to generate revenue through our standing shared services agreements with Jefferson Township, Butler Borough, and the Borough of Victory Gardens. Through these agreements, the Division of Health provides a wide range of public health and environmental health services, which keeps us busy, and this year generated about $180,000 in offsetting revenue. And to put our increased shared services revenue in some perspective, in 2011, which was the year that I became health officer here, we had $33,000 in revenue from shared services agreements. In the intervening years since then, we've generated about $2.2 million in revenue, offsetting revenue from additional shared services agreements with the communities I mentioned. In other news, happy to report that in 2023, for the first time ever, the Division of Health developed a strategic plan, a workforce development plan, and a continuous quality improvement plan, which was one of the resolutions, I think number 220 tonight, to authorize that. They're foundational prerequisites to national public health accreditation, but more importantly, I think they're going to be our guide to help provide better services to the community and to this organization. The pandemic obviously is pretty much over or endemic at this stage, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention that our staff remains pretty busy devoting time to COVID-19 and to other respiratory disease concerns. On a daily basis, we're focused on outbreak management, investigation, policy review, and dissemination of those policies, as well as public education. So I guess I would consider it an accomplishment that to date we've investigated 8,000 plus cases of COVID-19 and have performed contact tracing for countless other individuals and have distributed several thousand free COVID test kits to residents. Finally, happy to report that Division of Health's 2023 total budget was actually lower than its budget in 2007. It's completely independent of the revenue that I mentioned. It doesn't take that into consideration, but I consider that an accomplishment too, that we've been reasonably fiscally responsible so that our budget is about the same as it was 17 years ago. Thank you, Council President.
Those are some pretty good accomplishments.
I agree.
Follow that, Captain.
Well, so anyway, 23 in review for the police department. One of the things I would like to build on some of the things the mayor administrator have said. So I'd be remiss without, once again, I've mentioned it before in the past, that Rockaway Township is a partnership. All right, so all of us together, both the council, right, I'd like to thank the council and the working relationships that we have within the township. I'd like to, again, I appreciate the mayor and all that he does for the township, all right? So I'm not just an employee, I'm also a stakeholder in the town. And so all of these things that we discuss, I appreciate. I appreciate the business administrator, all that she brings to the town. As you can hear, the countless things that go on behind the scenes for the township of Rockaway. And it always amazes me, the unsung heroes, and I've mentioned that before, you know, the volunteers that we have that come out in droves every time we'd like to do something within the township. All of the things that go on each and every day in all of the departments to support one another, again, daily, day in, day out, to answer all of those questions, to provide all those services. All right, the police department in and of itself, this year we've managed to, and the officers, and again, thank you very much for mentioning Officer Batista. Again, we have some amazing officers. They've answered over 25,000 calls this year. All right, so from anything from property checks, school security checks, to traffic incidents, to medical calls, all different types of calls that the officers respond to make sure that our community is safe. All right, the Rockaway Township Police Department is proud to serve our community. All right, so again, they are an amazing group of men and women, and they answer the call when they are called. They will always go in when everybody else is going out. They're a brave group. I'm proud of them. All right, the community should be proud of them, and we are proud to be in service to the community. During this past year, we've had the opportunity to go to many different events. We've met a lot of the community members, all right? So whether very recently the menorah lighting, the Christmas tree lighting, we've gone to the Easter celebration over at Stony Brook that we had. We've gone over and met a lot of people over at the festival over at the library, the Spring Festival at the library. So there's just been so many things, right? And I'd be remiss if I could not mention at least a few of them, right? The Kids Carnival, we go to every year at the mall, Rockaway Township Mall, so we get an opportunity to talk to the little kids and what they'd like to be when they grow up, right? And representation, not just from the police department, but a lot of members of the township and the community are there. We also had a career day over at CCM. So the young minds going into criminal justice. I've also had the opportunity, and very glad to have had the opportunity to have interns from it's the Academy of Law and Public Safety. They have an internship, and the young students get to come over and spend some time in the police department and learn about a career in law enforcement. Different things that we've also done during the year, distracted driver campaigns, DWI, ticket or click it. So you'll see us out there doing a lot of those things. The officers get involved in. We're at all other types of events, White Meadow Lake Day parades, red, white, and blue festivals, Unico outings. So again, we're part of that community where we're just there to support, to help, to protect, and to serve. We also, during this year, we've had 4 officers retire, so we got to celebrate with 4 separate occasions with officers' retirement, so we're always excited to see officers successfully navigate the law enforcement career and be able to retire. During that time, we also had just recently welcomed 4 officers who completed their training in the police academy, as well as currently we have 3 additional officers attending the police academy. So again, I'm very proud of the department, all of their accomplishments. They've done a great job, and I'm proud to be part of their team. So thank you very much. And again, enjoy the rest of the year and the new year to come.
Mr. Knopf?
Yeah, I'd like to report that the recycling division collected 1,748 tons of recyclables curbside and at the recycling centers. The Parks Division has cut countless amounts of parks, lined fields, attended the softball tournaments, the Christmas menorah, senior picnic, and they currently are taking care of the demo of Hibernia Park and Field. The Road Division has swept 2,400 miles of roadways in Rockaway Township, 405 miles of new drainage, 351 tons of asphalt for overlays, potholes, berms, etc. 13,370 feet of roadways been milled and paved. 431 basins were cleaned and repaired. The Township Department of Public Works saved taxpayers $469,000 through pavement preservation process. The Water Utility Division is currently doing the Queens Road water main project. They just finished up the Green Pond Tank Rehabilitation Project. That tank is up and running again, looking to do Cayuga Tank next. Leak detection of the 4 pressure zones reduced water usage or water leaks from 26% to 18%. And well 10 pump house is currently under construction, waiting to be finished. That's it.
That's it. That's enough.
That's it.
Mr. Dyer?
A couple things, a lot has been covered. In the recreation end, we finally installed, to help Captain Shear, timeless hours. All the cameras are installed at Peterson Field. Major accomplishment for the safety of our residents, and anything that's going on down there is now being monitored by Captain Shear and everyone downstairs. It was mentioned earlier that we did get the award for the playground set that will be supposed to happen today. As Paula mentioned, that they're going to put a shovel in the ground tomorrow. The Councilman Freelander mentioned that we do have Phase 5 of the interior of the Fort Fage House, which should be a shovel in the ground any minute now, for all the HVAC and mechanical work being done there. It was also mentioned that grant funded that we had downstairs at the senior center. We're going to double the size of our senior center. And for community services, there's a couple numbers I want to throw out here. For our dial-a-ride year-to-date, we've done over 10,000 trips there and back. Our Mount Hope Pond, we have had over 1,300 badges, over 500 guests. So our summer camp was 476 children at 3 schools for 6 weeks. And all those programs, you put them all together, knock on wood, we've had 0 incidents. So the quality of the summer camp kids we're hiring, Captain Shear, and hit the fine men and women downstairs, 10,000 trips back and forth, no vehicle accidents. Our dollar high drivers are taking care of our residents. So that's a major accomplishment. And also, Paula, you said thank you to the council, but I kind of pride myself in having a very good pulse on this building, and I can report that we're excited to have Paula here. I'm not brown-nosing my boss right now, but I do want to put it on the record that we're excited to work with you, Paula, and we're happy to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did she get you in the Secret Santa? Mr. Coward?
That's the secret.
Okay. All right, so at this point, we're going to take a motion on the going into an executive closed session. I do not anticipate it being that long. However, should we approach 30 minutes, we will come out and inform everybody, should you decide to stay. We are not expecting any action after this. So, Resolution R-23-218, resolution authorizing an executive closed session in accordance with the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act to discuss pending anticipated litigation. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Friedlander?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noon?
Yes.
Councilman Brooks?
Yes.
Councilman Sackett?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brooks?
Yes.
Councilman Sahlberg?
Yes.
Councilman Vojtovich?
Yes.
President Kritz?
Yes. 8 yeses, motion passes. We will be back.
They do, absolutely. Their fees are generally like, 51 to 38,000. So a lot of their grants they do have low hanging, like the mayor does them, the DOT. Their big claim to fame is assistance to firefighters, but I know how to write that grant. I'm gonna talk to them about what grants that they can get.
There's something big that just came up now.
All right.
But if you just look on.
I'll talk to them, absolutely.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to return from closed session.
So moved.
Second.
Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Friedlander?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noon?
Yes.
Councilman Brooks?
Yes.
Councilman Sackett?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brooks?
Yes.
Councilman Sahlberg?
Yes.
Councilman Vojtovich?
Yes.
President Kritz?
Yes, it's 8 yeses, motion passes. I make a motion to adjourn. Can I have a second?
Second.
Consensus? Thank you.
Took the coat off.